Okay, in this video I'm going to do some old-fashioned follow the money research, but first I want to explain why I'm doing this. I guarantee that the conspiracy theory ecosystem is set up behind the scenes in the exact same way that the streamer ecosystem is set up for YouTube and all the other sites that these characters use. Maybe guarantee is a strong word, because this is funded and orchestrated at levels that are not made public, so there's kind of no way to ever prove this definitively, but I am pretty sure that it is in a network setup that looks very similar to Night Media, and how they are the umbrella organization that handles all of these artificially popular characters. And of course, each character has its own origin story, its own tale about how they came from this and just coincidentally turned into one of the most popular streamers on the internet. They just became these influencers that everybody listens to, and they got all of these subscribers and sponsorship deals, and they just so happen to promote all of the things that popular characters are expected to promote, right? They just so happen to do that. All of them at the same time. What are the odds? So it's very similar what's going on in the conspiracy scene on the internet, and I mean that broadly, in terms of the conservative political scene that has been turned into a conspiracy scene through the artificial rise of this fake version of conspiracy theories and the way it was implanted onto the quote-unquote far right. Just as much as I'm referring to these ridiculous YouTube channels that talk about ridiculous ideas and then call themselves conspiracy theorists, tell you they're giving you the truth. I could go on and on naming them, but that's beside the point. Either you can see it or you can't. And it's funny because people that are new to all of this will watch and listen to one of my videos, and then right next to this one in their feed is one of the characters I'm referring to here. And they think these videos are the same, but it will be many years from now where they will realize, oh, those two things were not the same. They were not telling me the same thing. But some of these characters, through the instructions they get from their handlers, are very clever in the way that they mask who they really are. They're good at saying the right buzzwords, so they sound like someone who's honestly speaking from the heart, right? They know how to mimic that in the same way that the system knows how to do that with the characters it presents as spiritual teachers or religious figures. They are very good at mimicking what someone like the man they call Jesus would act and sound like. Indeed, they come to you in the name of love. And it's kind of similar with this, right? This group of streamers and quote-unquote influencers, I really can't stand that term. I'm mad that I'm even saying it right now, but I have to say it so you know what I mean. Because in reality, these people don't influence anything if you actually know what's going on. I mean, their content is absurd. I've never really watched any of it. I will not stoop to that level, but just seeing the promotional material, their thumbnails, I know that they're absurd. And there can't be any value in what they're saying at all. But they are for the Zoomer generation and younger. It's this generation that was raised by the internet in a way that generations that came before them were not. And so they have a very close attachment to these quote-unquote influencers and streamers that are artificially popular. Some of them have not figured out that all the popularity is artificial. They don't know that the subscriber counts are fake. They don't understand that that's all driven by programs on the back end of the code. they think there's actually all these millions and millions and millions of people listening to these characters. No, that's just smoke and mirrors, because their primary purpose is to be promoted as someone who is insanely popular so that they can embed all of the ideas into the videos or whatever they're promoting, all the products they sell. And what you think is going on in the world is the ultimate product, right? Controlling the mind is the ultimate product. So anyways, that's why I'm doing this video. See the pattern. I guarantee you all of these fake conspiracy theorists are organized under a singular umbrella at some level in the same way that these streamers are. And there's a lot of overlap too. Like, we'll get to the Y-Files, which is a client of Night Media and has a handler from Night Media accordingly. Night Inc. is an American digital talent management company founded in 2015 by Reed Dutcher. Through its talent management arm, Night Media, the company currently manages digital creators including Kai Cenat, Hassan Piker, ZHC, the Costco guys, Cold Ones, and Sophia Nygaard. This is the artist's page where you can see what they're talking about here. I believe that at a certain point, Mr. Beast left because his manager was this Reed Dutcher character for a long time, and they split at some point. But this is the poster child for what I'm talking about here. These fake, artificially popular characters like Mr. Beast, who have no talent whatsoever and can't even smile without looking completely fake while they do it. I mean, I've never seen a faker smile on a character than this guy. I mean, just something really creepy going on with Mr. Beast, to say nothing of the name that he uses. But in a world where people rose to prominence based on merit alone, someone like this would never ever be popular. His entire popularity is artificial. I'm not even going to pretend like I know who these people are. This character has an interesting symbol on his sweatshirt. But I've heard the names before, like Hassan Piker, I've heard that name before. However, otherwise, I have no idea who any of these people are. Like, who is this? What's this dream? And these names are just so ridiculous, too. Look at this picture. Jesser. I'm Jesser, and I'm sure the videos are ridiculous, and he has this fake, upbeat personality. I'm gonna give you a video today, guys! I'm sorry. Okay, I gotta get off of this page, or I'm going to devolve into an energy that is not conducive to changing minds or showing people anything that's true. So I will move on from this, but you can see what I'm talking about here. They have this whole roster of characters that they manage. And the innocent explanation is like, well, yeah, this is a company that came into existence to manage characters like this, and they're good at it, so all the most popular characters along these lines want to join up. And yeah, that's one way to look at it if you have no idea what actually goes on in the world, truly, right? You can look at it like that and say that's the truth, but the reality is these umbrella organizations are created to do this. And the characters are pre-selected, and they are artificially driven towards media popularity. It's a symbiotic relationship in that way. One doesn't come before the other. Asmongold, that's another character along these lines, right? He's interacting directly with Elon Musk. They're having a back and forth to promote each other. The same way that Elon Musk promoted Ian Carroll and promotes all these other similar characters by engaging with them and giving them a popularity boost in that way. Lance Bass, a famous name that most people would remember from years ago. And then there's the Y files, which I'll get to at the very end. But yeah, you can even see it in the way they take... Look at this picture from the Y files. That's like a headshot that some wannabe actor would be going around Hollywood with. You know what I mean? Oh, and then I run this 4 million plus subscriber YouTube channel where I give you the truth about conspiracies. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And that's my point. A character like this gets the job he gets for a variety of reasons, has the talent to at least come across somewhat believable when he's speaking into a microphone. You have to have a little bit of talent to do this kind of thing. And then as you go down the line, the more absurd YouTube characters that have less and less and less artificial popularity have less and less and less talent. And they were given these roles that aren't as meaningful because they're not as good. Which is the hierarchy that always exists in anything, right? It's the same with shills and these characters that are given artificial popularity. There's still a hierarchy there where the best ones at the job, the ones who sell out the most, are the most popular and given the most important narratives to promote along those lines. You can really see it in their pictures. It's kind of similar to the way they do the thumbnails now, where some marketing genius, some Don Draper out there on Madison Avenue did the scientific research and they came away and said, hey, we figured out when you have your mouth gaping open like a complete fool on your thumbnail, people want to click on the video more. And I don't know how that's even possible, because when I see someone doing this, I will not click on the video. I refuse to click on a video where that's your thumbnail. I just won't do it because it's absolutely ridiculous. Don't try to manipulate me into clicking on your video. Make good videos and put a title on there that is relating to the video, and if I'm looking into that thing, I'll click on the video. It's pretty simple. Get rid of these ridiculous thumbnails, please, for the benefit of all of us. Okay, I'm going to get bogged down into this thing. Let's move on to the next one. This is Reed Dutcher. And it's interesting because I'm starting to analyze people who are younger than me, which is a different experience. For the longest time when I was doing this, it was all people older than me, or at least my same age, in that range. Now, I'm looking into these younger characters that are coming on the scene, but you see, they have all the same connections that all the older characters do. It's just a matter of what time you are paying attention to them. Like, if I had been paying attention to someone, say, Bill Gates, back when he was 35, it would be similar to paying attention to somebody like Reed Dutcher. These are characters that are given their roles in life ahead of time, and they just have to play that out and be patient in what they're supposed to do. Now, I'm not saying this guy will be at the level of Bill Gates when he's in his 60s and 70s, but some of them will. So you have to understand that you're analyzing the next crop of these characters. And sometimes they make it easy when it's a direct relationship in terms of family. They have the same last name. Like Soros, for example, one of his sons just took over his operation. Well, that's easy to track. But sometimes it's coming from a place that isn't overtly related to the family name, though they are related by the bloodlines they come from in that way. However, you don't know that when you're actually looking into the characters, and they're very careful about that for a variety of reasons. So it's not so obvious that it's all these specific bloodlines that are in control of everything. And if they were all sharing their legitimate surnames, you wouldn't have any idea that's going on. So anyway, this is the guy who started Night Media and was Mr. Beast's manager, who now is sort of the handler, his company anyway, for all these other streamers that I was just going over. Well, he doesn't have much of a bio at all. He's 35, and there really isn't much here to go into. Other than they tell you, oh yeah, he started as an NFL sports agent. We know what the NFL is. You don't get involved in that circle unless you're connected, right? I mean, that's just how it works. It's similar. Everything is using the same underlying structure, right? But in any event, he gets this role where he signs Mr. Beast before he's given that artificial popularity. So they kind of rise together. And then they eventually split after the 6-year partnership, and then this Reed character goes on his own way and Mr. Beast goes on his own way. But the point is, they come up together in a very artificial way because it was scripted for this to transpire. So that's Knight Media, which is a subsidiary of Knight Inc. This is the Chernin Group, also known as TCG, which is an investment firm that manages private equity investments in various sectors, including media, entertainment, and technology. The Chernin Group has made investments in Shrug Capital, which is a joint venture with Knight Inc., a digital talent management and media firm. TCG has committed $100 million to Shrug Capital, which focuses on acquiring majority interests in consumer-facing companies in partnership with leading talent. Those are all those streamers, right, that Knight Media is in control of, like Mr. Beast. Additionally, TCG has invested in other companies like Food 52, Crunchyroll, and Collectors Holdings. So the Chernin Group actually formed the investment company Shrug Capital with Knight Inc. And then they committed $100 million to Shrug Capital. Peter Chernin, the founder and chairman of TCG, is also involved in other ventures like the North Road Company, a global production company. This is involved in making films and other media productions along those lines. This is Peter Chernin, chairman and CEO of the Chernin Group, as I just mentioned, which he founded in 2010. Born in Harrison, New York, the son of Mary and Herbert Chernin, Chernin, whose father was Jewish, was raised Unitarian. Chernin joined Fox in 1989 from Lorimar Film Entertainment, where he was president and chief operating officer. Earlier, he was executive vice president of programming and marketing for Showtime, the movie channel. Prior to Showtime, Chernin was vice president of development and production at the David Gerber Company. He began his career in publishing, first as associate publicity director of St. Martin's Press, and later as an editor for Warner Books. Prior to starting TCG, Chernin was president and chief operating officer of News Corporation and chairman and CEO of the Fox Group from 1996 to 2009. So we're talking about Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation and that Fox News umbrella. This is Peter Chernin, who has this history in media along these lines, who starts TCG, who then invests in Shrug Capital, which forms Knight Media that Reed character is now presumably the head of, but you can see how that Reed character is just the young face of that company to fit in with the streamers that he represents. The actual money, though, is coming from these legacy organizations that were in control of the media from the beginning, right? And we know what they do. So that's the whole point here. It's coming from a source that's the same as it ever was. But they don't give you that impression the way everything is promoted. They promote it in this spontaneous way where characters like Mr. Beast picked up a keyboard and a mouse one day and got on the computer and just had a knack for YouTube and became popular. That's what happened. I was like, no, that's not what happened. The only thing that changed is how they used to do things shifted in terms of the medium. It used to be a new actor in a television series or something along those lines. Now it's a new character with a YouTube channel that's targeting a different demographic. In the same way that they had different television shows that target different demographics. Well, these streamers are targeting Zoomers and under, and it goes back to that same formula they used in television, and it's the same people that are funding the whole thing. the guy who started the Chernin Group, which invested $100 million into Knight Media, Knight Inc., and even started a fund with that company in general, which is how they pooled their resources originally. Well, he spent 2 decades with News Corporation and was essentially running it. He also headed both 20th Century Fox Filmed Entertainment and earlier the Fox Broadcasting Company. He also had oversight of Fox's tremendous growth in sports, cable, and general entertainment television programming and distribution in the US and internationally. So, of course, someone like this would pivot in 2010, just a few years after the iPhone comes out, to this new entrepreneurial role where he is investing in these YouTube characters and these streamers on all the other platforms. So the Chernin Group orchestrates the $100 million commitment to Shrug Capital, which was an investment company with Knight Inc., which is the parent corporation of Knight Media. The other co-founders of the Chernin Group are first Mike Kearns, who joined in 2015, helping lead the company's investment efforts as president of TCG Digital. And prior to joining the Chernin Group, he was senior vice president at Yahoo. Of course, also being on the board of Knight Media, as well as Barstool Sports, previously on that board, a similar artificially popular organization that is attempting to influence in the same way, just in a different genre, as it were, right? Just in the space of sports. Because that's an important aspect of all this. Sports is a huge part of how things are orchestrated along these lines. And then the other one was Jesse Jacobs, who was a senior member of the Media, Entertainment, and Sports Advisory Investing and Financing team at Goldman Sachs. He began his career in NFL, MLB, and NHL sports television production at the inception of Fox Sports and then for CBS Sports in the Olympics. So another guy who was involved with News Corporation in the Fox umbrella and was also involved in sports in terms of the NFL and MLB and NHL, and was a senior member at Goldman Sachs. So you have a Goldman Sachs employee, Peter Chernin, who ran News Corporation for 2 decades, and a senior executive at Yahoo. All of which are positions you do not get by accident, right? So these are the characters who start the Chernin Group. They invest the $100 million into funding the rise of these streamers. But of course, there's always another level beyond the one you're focusing on. And this is related to Providence Equity Partners, who invested in the Chernin Group when it started. And they later actually formed the North Road Company with Chernin, that production company, Global Content Studio, as they refer to it here. Providence Equity Partners invested up to $500 million to form North Road with the Chernin Group. And in 2012, Providence Equity Partners made a significant investment in the Chernin Group that was unrelated to the North Road venture. The partnership between Providence Equity Partners and the Chernin Group highlights a strategic alliance in the media and entertainment industry. Providence Equity was founded by Jonathan Milton Nelson, an American billionaire businessman. Providence Equity Partners manages funds with over $45 billion in commitments, As of September 2023, Nelson's net worth is estimated by Forbes at $3.4 billion. So we know how the game is played. You don't become a billionaire unless you're in the club, right? It's simply not possible because you have to have a certain level of commitments and support to reach that level. Now, does that mean it's never happened in history? No, I'm sure here and there's been one person who just, was in the right place at the right time and came up with an idea that made them a billionaire. But that is not the norm. The norm is you are a billionaire if you're in the bloodlines in some way, shape, or form, and you are chosen to have that role. Because these billionaires are how they use the cloak of philanthropy to initiate certain agendas, to change the fabric of society in certain ways under the guise of philanthropy. Additionally, it makes these characters seem benevolent, right? They're giving a lot of what they have away. And so you have a different perception of who they really are when you view that kind of behavior. So naturally, all of these characters that are billionaires, most of them frontmen anyway, like Bill Gates, they are said to be philanthropists, right? They're said to give a lot as they evade taxes, right? They always somehow know how not to pay any taxes, but they give at the same time, and they're philanthropists, and they donate money to universities, and they name buildings after them, and that's them giving back. They're also concerned with their legacy, right? Making sure somebody remembers them. But anyway, this is Jonathan Milton Nelson, and naturally, the photo they choose for him is sitting at the World Economic Forum, which tells you everything you need to know, right? This is a direct line from the World Economic Forum, a billionaire who's speaking there and interacting with all the characters that usually attend those meetings, down through to the Chernin Group, down to Night Media, and down to Mr. Beast. This is how it functions, okay? And remember, the reason I'm getting into all of this is my guarantee that the conspiracy culture was seeded in the same way, okay? It has a similar structure, and it was orchestrated from the very top like everything else, in advance, especially like the 9/11 truth movement and everything that branched off into. Obviously, it was created well before then, but that was kind of the marker in time with an event big enough where you could see one of these groupings of characters come into existence from the ground up, right? A bunch of new characters introduced, like these streamers, all at the same time. Oh, this is the 9/11 truth movement. These are the people giving you the truth about that event, led by Alex Jones and David Icke. And those two characters are like Mr. Beast, you see? They're the same. And then it goes down from there, from those two most prominent conspiracy theorists who are allowed to say everything they say, and there's a very specific agenda behind what they say. And then it filters down into all the clones of them who aren't as influential and oftentimes are allowed to call them out, right? Because the idea of controlled opposition is becoming so understood, they have to pretend like they call it out too to have any kind of legitimacy. And then it goes down and down and down and down. They're trying to be smarter about how they do this now, where even though they still buy the subs for these characters, they don't do it as frequently, and they try to make it at least a little believable, to the point where some of these entities have, 3,000, 4,000 subscribers over a couple years, and that seems somewhat believable that they could be real. So they're being kind of smart about it now, after the fact that we just couldn't help but notice how fake this was, where you're giving these conspiracy channels 25K subs in a month at the same time that they're telling you they're being censored. Oh my gosh, we're under attack, we're being censored, they won't let my videos get out. And then they get 30K subs in 2 months. It's like, what? Where are you getting those subs from if they're not promoting your videos? So logically, they understand they had to change their tactics. And part of changing their tactics is exactly what I predicted they would do when I started talking about this in videos on this subject. It's like, okay, well, now I just put the tell out there, so they can't just keep going on with the same tell or they're going to lose the game, right? So they have to change. And they're starting to do that a little bit. But still, it's so obvious. When they make somebody artificially popular, sometimes they just don't care. They're like, this is the agenda, this is what we're doing with that character, and we're sending them to the moon. Doesn't matter if nobody believes it. It's like I got into in that sync video on that whole scene. There's this new program, Sync Tank, that's completely artificial in a similar way, in terms of the channel that hosts it, and it has like 120,000 subscribers now. And at the time I did the video, they didn't have anywhere close to that. And I'm looking at it show up in my feed with a live notification, and the video has like 100 live viewers. You have 130,000 subscribers almost, and you're getting 100 live users on your actual live stream on your most popular show? What? This is completely fake. Another example of the intuition leading you to the correct conclusion before you have the evidence to actually prove it. Even these artificially popular streamers will say that they get 1 to 5% of their subscriber total as a norm during their live streams. So somebody with 130,000 subscribers should have like 1,000 to 5,000 live viewers during their live streams, not 100. So it's like the subscribers are completely fake. And they do this to give the illusion of popularity, like, oh, this is somebody that I should be listening to, right? This is somebody who has authority. And they promote disinformation, right? They put all those characters on shows like Sync Tank that is full of disinformation and leading you astray in terms of the worldview they are promoting and what they leave out. Yeah, sure, some of the details are correct when they're going into what's in movies and just Hollywood in general, but they leave out so much. And I'm sure that's going on in all the other stuff that character does, but I'm not listening to any of that. I got way better things to do. So that's kind of what I'm getting at here, okay? I guarantee you that organization, in every way it exists in terms of alternative options to the mainstream, is organized in the same way, and it goes all the way to the top. And these entities in particular are being funded in a way where it doesn't even matter if they make money. Okay, it's a loss designed to manipulate and control the opposition, right? That's the whole point. So that's why you would fund those characters and let them operate at a loss. I mean, they're not making you any money. When you're paying for subscribers, that character isn't going to make money for you, right? The whole thing is not big enough to make any kind of profit. But they do it solely to manipulate. And that is worth the price. And then this is a good example of how these things start. It's referred to as Shrug Squared. It's this investment firm that started in Silicon Valley, I think. And you can see here, co-founder of Night and Feastables, Reed Dusher. Niv and Mosh haven't made any introductions that weren't worth 100% of my time. They've been awesome to work with across both Night and Feastables. And then you have this whole list of characters that this VC firm has interacted with. This new VC firm that just coincidentally is able to interact with people like BJ Novak, who's an actor and was a writer on The Office. And Ashton Kutcher, right? He's even on Shark Tank now, occasionally, is a quote-unquote investor. He's stopping human trafficking. Yeah, okay, sure thing, buddy. But so they have the connections from the beginning to get characters like this interacting with them. And that's what I mean by it's all scripted in advance. These people are connected and they are setting up this front shop that serves as a VC that brings things into existence that serves the agenda. And anything that won't serve it, they don't fund. That's how they control startups and that whole ecosystem in general. And then, of course, most of the time, like all the names we know today, Google, Amazon, Facebook, those are government incubators, clandestine incubators that fund these operations. And then it is given the illusion, like the streamers, that they just rose to prominence because it was the best one at the best time. It caught lightning in a bottle. No, that's not how it works. We know about LifeLog. We know that's what Facebook was, okay? We know. We know that Jeff Bezos didn't create Amazon. We know that was a government operation, all right? And it actually just came out today that a court or some article was stating, I didn't have time to read it, that Google is essentially operating a monopoly that is controlling the startup market unfairly. And it's like, yeah, Google was a government organization. It was clandestine, black budget orchestrated, and it was designed for them to rise to the top so they could do exactly that and control the startup marketplace and control what comes into the public's awareness in that way. But when you go to one of the founders of Shrug, Niv Dror, it's similar to that Reed character where they give him the, oh, he was just a natural at it angle. Oh, it has nothing to do with the connections that he has in terms of the bloodlines. This is just what he's designed to do. And down here, they say A-list investors. Dror has been able to attract the who's who of Silicon Valley as investors into his fund, including Bannister, Chris Sacca, Mark Andreessen, Chris Dixon, Amity Ventures, Social Capital, David Sachs, Keith Rabeau, and Kevin Rose. Right? This is someone who has no business having those kind of connections given how young he is and what his career history was. But yet he raises $3 million no problem to create Shrug, and then he's interacting immediately with all these A-list Silicon Valley VCs and investors, as well as the characters that are listed here. They're all connected, okay? That's my point. And this is what the conspiracy theory ecosystem is. You have to understand that. I'm begging with you. Please understand it. Okay? Do not let them lie to you anymore. Do not let them mislead you. Focus on the connections. I like how I got that text message right when I got it, okay? That was a nice anchor to what I was just saying there. This is the other founder of Shrug, Mosh Lifshitz, early stage VC and angel. Again, no business having any of the connections that he has, right? Which just underscores what's really going on here. It's the same as this Reed character and Night Media. These are the characters that 30 years from now, not saying it will actually be this guy, but you know, these are the characters who you look up and say, oh my gosh, he's the new Bill Gates. We just didn't know it at the time. And then finally, this is the Y Files, going back to the idea of this fake conspiracy culture. 4.7 million subscribers giving you the truth about what's going on. And it's crazy. I wanted to go down to the titles of some of these videos. There was one in particular about weather manipulation. There it is. Weather weapons and worse. Tesla's stolen tech in the new arms race. This is exactly what I'm talking about, right? You can find discussion of this stuff pretty much anywhere you look if you go searching into conspiracy culture. And a channel like this is the representative that they point to. That says, oh yeah, you want to talk about that subject? Oh, Y-Files did a video on that. Go check it out. They're giving you the truth, right? Oh, and he's just a regular Joe asking questions, right? He doesn't pretend like he knows it all. That's what they say for Ian Carroll, right? Trying to paint him as this normal Joe. He's giving you the truth. He doesn't pretend like he knows it all, because they know that's an effective marketing tool. And actually, somebody who is kind of aware of what's going on, right, would understand their limitations in that way. And they might repeat something like that. Like, I really don't know what's going on here. So, of course, they copy and paste it into their fake version of this whole thing. I've actually never even watched one of these videos. I don't even know if he presents himself like that, but you can see, hopefully, the angle here. And what this is trying to do. The quantum apocalypse. All your secrets revealed. Oh my gosh, just absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, hopefully you understand what I was getting at here. And this was useful in terms of understanding how something as innocent on the surface as a Mr. Beast YouTube video goes all the way back to a billionaire sitting at the World Economic Forum. And his company that invested in the Chernin Group, which is affiliated with and invested in Night Inc., which represents Night Media, which used to represent Mr. Beast, but now represents all of the other similar characters that are specifically in place to manipulate an entire generation of human beings. So, the point is, you need to approach conspiracy theory content in the same way, that you are being manipulated intentionally in ways that you can't understand because the connections are not as obvious as this.